Good morning, Trailblazers. I'm excited to be back with you for a new series that we're going to be starting. We're going to be talking for the next 4 weeks. That's going to lead us up to our Advent time or our Christmas time. I know Christmas is right around the corner. I am super excited. I hope you are too. But for the next 4 weeks, we're going to be talking about the Trinity. Now, this is an idea or a theology. That's a kind of a fancy word for how we study and think about God. This is a theology that might be foreign to many of you, or maybe you've heard this word before. Not quite sure. Kind of depends on what kind of household you come from. But it's something that's very, very difficult for many people to understand. And so if you're a little bit lost, that's okay. In fact, most of your parents, most of the grown-ups, they're lost too. This is one of those really complicated things that's true about God that we don't really fully understand. So when I say the Trinity, I'm talking about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. But for this purpose, for Trailblazers, we're actually not going to use those words because those words have really loaded or weighty meaning. They're things that we've probably heard so many times that it might be hard for us to really understand them. We have a lot of baggage with those words. And so instead we're going to be using these 3 words. I hope you guys like it. Creator, Redeemer, Sustainer. Got that? Repeat after me. Creator, Redeemer, Sustainer. So when we talk about Creator, which is what we're going to talk about today, we're talking about what many people have called God, the Father. When we talk about Redeemer, that'll be next week. We're going to be talking about Jesus, the person of Jesus. That's the Redeemer. And when we talk about the Holy Spirit in the 3rd week, we're going to talk about Sustainer. In the 4th week, we're going to talk about kind of all of those things and how they connect and what it means for us today. What it means for each of us who were created in the image of God. And so if you're tracking with me, we have 3 distinct persons of the Trinity, like 3 people that make up God. And today we're specifically going to be talking about Creator. What does it mean specifically that God creates? What does it mean that God creates? I bet many of you have heard the creation story before, and I'm just going to read the first couple words of the Bible. Specifically, the first 5 words of the Bible. Ready? In the beginning, God created. In the beginning, God created. You see, the whole story of the Bible, the whole story of history, the whole story of the universe, of the great expanding cosmos, all begins with those 5 little words. In the beginning, God created. You see, a lot of people like to talk about the method or the way that God created. But what's so much more important than the method is the meaning, is the reality that God is a creative God. And if, from a meaning perspective, if God created, it means that everything came from God. See, God is the source. That's why we like to say God the Father or God the Creator is the first person of the Trinity. Now, if everything has a purpose, it also means that everything is connected. You see, if everything comes from one source, just like how you and your brothers and sisters, if you have brothers and sisters, or maybe you have aunts and uncles, your parents and your aunts and uncles, they came from one source. They came from a family of parents. Usually 1 or 2 parents that they share that common ancestry, that family. Well, if everything, all the things in the whole world, trees and people and bricks and books and you and me and microphones and ties and all of it came from God, it means that all of it is connected and has a purpose. So, I know that might be a little bit difficult to wrap your mind around, but the important takeaway this morning, it's kind of a shorter takeaway, is that God creates And that means as we walk through the world, we can see the evidence or the fingerprints of God everywhere. And so just like I said, as I looked around myself and I saw all of these things that God created, I want you to go out and take a walk this week. That's your assignment. Your verse is very short. It's just the first half of verse 1 of Genesis 1. In the beginning, God created. But your task, it's going to be a little longer. It might be a little cold this week. So you're going to have to bundle up. Convince your mom or dad to take you for a walk, or maybe a grandparent if you're hanging out with your grandparents this week. Convince them to get outside and to walk around and look for things that God created. And I want you to look for 3 things, whether you're looking at trees or grass or animals or people or houses or cars or any of it. I want you to look for the beauty in creation. I want you to look for the connections in creation. I want you to look for the meaning or the purpose in creation. Why did God create this? And why is it good? You see, Trailblazers, it might seem sometimes like God is really far away from us. But the truth is, the fingerprints of God, the Creator, are everywhere around us all the time if we just have eyes to see, ears to hear, noses to smell, mouths to taste, and fingers to touch. God's everywhere, in everything, through everything. So the Creator this week, the first person of the Trinity, I invite you to go out and find God. I'll see you next week as we talk about the Redeemer, and the following week as we talk about the Sustainer. But for now, Trailblazers, have a great week. Explore nature for me.